episode 1 of Learning the Ropes podcast with Justin and James, where we highlight, recap, and cover all things boxing. How you doing, Justin?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for making the time. So let's get into it, man. First things first, Ryan versus Tank. Tank versus Ryan. What do you got?
Hey, there was the elephant in the room, man. It was a big weekend. Honestly, man, I thought it was a good bout. I really thought it was a good bout. A lot of people that I've talked to since, they kind of like a little weird on it. People are like, oh, man, I think Ryan kind of gave up or whatever. And in my mind, I think the guys that even think that way have probably never been hit with a liver shot in their life.
Exactly. You beat me to it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. But I think that it was a great fight. It was definitely good for boxing. I mean, if anything, it was good for boxing. Like, just have two young stars, undefeated, like willing to put that O on the line. You know what I mean? And really risk a career, really, in a way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the trajectory of their career, at least. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, what do you think?
With the state of things, I mean, any gripe or any complaint or any critique I may have, honestly, kind of takes a back seat to the potential positive benefits that that bout has on professional boxing. So yeah, Ryan looked a little weird in there to me. I don't know if it was the weight or if that's just the way he boxes. His legs looked a little funny to me. I mean, there's 1,000 things you could say, but at the end of the day, Tank fought a good fight. And like you said, I think it's going to be good for boxing. Two young kids in their prime, putting it on the line, willing to risk that O, which has been kind of a rare thing up until now. So hopefully that lights a fire under some people, you know, Spence, Crawford, some of these younger guys coming up, just go ahead and fight each other like back in the day, you know, when we had the Four Kings and all that. So yeah, I think it's good for boxing ultimately. I honestly, you know, as a boxing fan, wanted to see a little more out of Ryan.
I feel you.
I think he had some moments. Again, maybe it wasn't his style. Maybe it was the outside of what he wanted to do. But when he was coming in there with some aggression and some flurries in like the second round, I think he did it later in the fight too. He was having a little bit of success, you know, making your guy uncomfortable and all that. But yeah, ultimately, Tank, man, with those counters, and he's just slick with it, you know.
The thing with Tank too, he's so cerebral, man. Like he takes those first like 3, 4, I think even up to sometimes like 5 rounds.
Right.
And he's like a computer, man. He like downloads the first 5 rounds. Absolutely. And then he like hits a game plan and like hits it in stride. And then it's like once that happens, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? And absolutely. I think that's why has such a high knockout percentage, because I think he really just takes those first few rounds and you can literally see him. Like he uses like he'll use his distance, you know what I mean, whatever he's got to do. He's just so effective with it. And once he gets that game plan down, it's a wrap.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was these last few fights that I've really been paying attention to Tank. I mean, it's the same, but it's different. But I see some similarities with the whole, you know, Canelo's prime. You know what he was doing the last couple of years, where they're being patient. You know, they're arguably losing the first half of the fight, or even more sometimes. You know what I mean? But they're patient. And they're waiting for that opening or creating openings. Obviously, two different styles, but definitely some similarities there.
I feel like there's something to that. I don't know. And absolutely. I think that there's really something to like being cool, calm, and collected those first few rounds and just letting it kind of play out. So you see so many guys, like you said, that they're just polar opposites. You got guys that are like, they come out the gate sprinting, you know what I mean? And they, like, a lot of people get caught like that.
Oh,
you know, especially when you have the pro style when it's like, hey, we're going to take this first, you know, round to really kind of feel each other out and figure out like what we're doing here. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that like on the other end of that spectrum, though, if you really do take that time and really comprehend what's going on, I think you really set yourself up for those later rounds. So you kind of give those beginning rounds and then set yourself up to win the later ones, you know what I mean? Or even in Tank's case, the past few fights he's had, you know, KO in the 7th, 8th, 9th, you know what I mean?
Even 11th. I mean, I think he got Barrios out there, the 11th or 12th round, something crazy?
Yeah. Was it Leo Santa Cruz a little later too? I think.
Oh yeah, he was late.
It was a late one.
The Gamboa stoppage, I think, was 12th, but Yeah, so he's interesting. I think yeah, man, when you watch that replay of that body shot,
Yeah.
that was really slick, man. He actually made a little bit of room because he was dipping under those hooks. He knew that Ryan's left hook was coming all night. Boom, getting him under him pretty much from the first round. Just dip, dip, roll. And he got under some shots. I don't know if it was a left hook or not. He got under a shot, created a little bit of space, snuck in a body shot. Oh, man, it was nasty.
Well, it was weird. I don't know how you felt when you saw it live, but when I saw it live, I was like, did that even land flush? Like, I was like kind of confused. You know what I mean? Like, and I know sometimes like when you're in the midst of it and you're watching it like it is tough to see stuff like happen in real time. And but honestly, when I saw it, I went, "What happened?" Like I thought he hurt. Like I thought Ryan like hurt himself. I was like, "What's going on?" And then when they came back into the replay, I was like, "Tank landed that flush."
Yep.
I mean, maybe not fully flush, but he landed. Like you could see where it like, it moved Ryan's body when he landed it. So like, it didn't look like it had a lot of power, but that
right, exactly. It wasn't. That's the thing. He was crouched under. It was kind of from a weird position, but he made it happen, man. It was awesome.
It was almost like the that hook that he landed on Rolly. Really, he just kind of like he even said in an interview, he goes, I just put that out there. Rolly kind of ran into it, kind of thing, you know. So it's like, it just goes to show like timing, like beats all, man. Like every single time.
Yes, sir. Hey, man. So what do you think? What's next? We're thinking Tank is probably staying at 135. Ryan has already come out and said he's going to 140. So I mean, what do you think's next, man? Throw some names out there. What are you thinking?
Man, I you know, really, I'd like to see Ryan fight like a mid-level 140 guy. And I'm not too crazy familiar with the 140 division, but like like Jack Catterall. Like I think that'd be a good like intro because he gave Josh Taylor a lot of trouble.
Absolutely.
You know, I'd really hate to see Ryan just kind of hop in there and just automatically get like a Tio or a Josh Taylor or somebody like that just because of his name, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a big component like of like guys really getting in there and like earning their way into the, you know, whatever division they are. Like Shakur, he fought I can't remember I think he was the Japanese fighter. Can't remember his name. But he you know, that wasn't like a big name right off the bat, right? I mean, that guy was good. I think he was a top 10 or top 15 fighter in the 135 division, but
you can't just cut
but it wasn't like he didn't just come in and fight a tank, right? You know, I mean, Shakur easily could pick and choose whoever he wants to fight, but he came in, he was like, hey, like, you know, I'm gonna earn my way through these ranks and earn this title shot. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you can't cut straight to the line off, you know, just off your name in most cases. But yeah, I think so, man. I think you're right. I would like to see Ryan in there with maybe a top 10 guy. Maybe, you know,
who are some of the top 10 in 140? Kind of like blanking. Like, I mean, we're like, I feel like Jack Catterall is probably up there, and then
Zepeda's down there.
Yeah. Jose Zepeda, yeah.
Who did? Let's see. Tank beat this cat years ago on the Floyd and Connor undercard. Man, I'm drawing a blank, man. It's I think he's a Puerto Rican dude. Anyways, he's at 140 now.
Yeah.
And he's no slouch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull the name up real quick.
I mean, it's just crazy because like 135 is so stacked. You know what I mean? It's like you got so many names at 135 now, even with Ryan leaving.
Right.
You see 140. Yeah.
Jose Pedraza. Yeah. You could throw Ryan in there with like a Pedraza or something like that. Someone dangerous, but yeah, not at that, you know, top 3, top 5. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Progress.
Ooh, he's dangerous, man. If I was Ryan's people, I would not put him in there. Because he's shorter. He's shorter for the weight, and you know, shorter guys typically you know, are what you want when you're Ryan Garcia. But yeah, man, Regis is a dog. But yeah, I have a theory, and many other people do as well, is that I don't know, man. I think that either Ryan's going to have to add some wrinkles to his game as he moves up, or he's going to be in some trouble. Because when he goes to 140 or 147, I mean, he's not going to be that tall guy anymore. He's going to be fighting dudes his height. And so he can't just pull that pullback move, arms out, straight back in the line stuff, because he's going to get caught, kind of like with Campbell, and so
Yeah,
we'll
for
see what
sure.
happens, man. We'll see what happens. What
Yeah,
about
for sure.
Tank at 135, right?
All right, here's my thought on it, and some people might kind of give me a little backlash for this. I'm a Tank fan, but I think that Tank needs to really work on getting towards a belt. Like
Oh,
I think that would really solidify like what he's doing in
I
this.
agree. A major belt. Yep.
Yeah, because I know he's had the interim in the franchise. I'm pretty sure, like maybe WBC franchise and like
I think it was like a super duper WBA, something, like the secondary belts. Yeah.
Yeah. So but he hasn't had he's never had like the full
The
on,
real one. Yeah.
title. Right?
35.
And I
Yeah.
know, all the sanctioning bodies are a little different. They're a little weird with like how they give stuff out or whatever. But I think really I think he needs to go for the belts. And if that means giving him the winner of Haney and Loma, then maybe that's it. But because it's not like Tank needs to prove himself in any way, shape, or form in the division. You know what I mean? He's kind of ran through quite a few people, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I'm
I don't
curious
know.
how they work out the
Yeah,
mandatories. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we'll have to do some digging and look at, who's the mandatory and who's coming up, because we'll talk on this later, but we got Haney and Loma coming
yeah,
up. Haney's got all the belts right now. So I'm curious what the order is for the mandatories and all that, and who's the mandatory for which body. And like I was telling my boys last night, man, like it gets confusing because there's so many belts out there, and they were trying to understand. Wait, he's got this belt and he's got this belt, but why, why is there two
yeah,
WBA belts? Da da da. And
right.
like,
Yeah,
man,
and all the franchises and all that stuff, and it's
yeah,
like it's hard to keep up. That's what I mean. I understand like when I got buddies that like are just kind of casual in the game, and they're like, I don't understand like at
right.
all, like, and it's like hard for me to be like, well, yeah, that's just. And I'm like, oh, that actually is kind of crazy to try to explain this to you right
Yeah,
now.
right.
Like,
He's
why
not
he
the
has
actual
that.
WBA. He's the secondary. That guy's a WBA, but they're both a WBA champ. It's like, what?
He's the WBA regular,
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
this is weird. But
That's wild.
I'm honestly, I'm curious to see too what Haney decides to do after this fight, because he's been speaking on moving up to 140 for a while now.
Yeah, man. Did you remember that recent weigh-in? It might have been his last weigh-in, but he got a lot of comments online because he was so sunken in, so drawn in.
Man.
I think the 135 is hard for him, man. He's kind of a big boy for 135, so yeah, I think he'll be moving up.
Well, speaking of that too, speaking on you said the weight cut earlier might have
Yeah,
been a man for for as much noise as there was around like the weight cut and the rehydration clause and all that stuff, neither guy looked drained or bad at the weigh-ins. I thought.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
I was
thought
surprised.
Ryan looked really good.
Yeah,
He
he looked,
claims he had breakfast the morning of the weigh-in, or
yeah, I
you know what I
saw
mean, whatever. So I saw like that scuffle where they were like, "I did have breakfast. I did have breakfast,"
that.
but you know what I mean. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like both guys had energy.
Yeah.
Like they didn't seem sunken in. So I don't know. I mean, can Ryan really not make that weight anymore?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
he's definitely grown over the last handful of years or whatever. Pre and post Reynoso, Team Reynoso, and all that. Definitely he's growing into his man body, but
Yeah.
he did look good on the scale. He didn't look crazy drained. But who knows how he felt.
Right.
I guess next let's talk about the undercard real quick. David Morrell Jr. first round KO.
Yeah, he's a dog, man.
Right.
I think at the 168 division, he's scary, man. I think I don't know, he hasn't really fought like a crazy level of talent yet. Like
That's
I'd
the
like
thing.
to
I think that was his like 10th fight or something stupid. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, I've been hearing his name for a while now. So
yeah.
we'll see, man. He could cause some problems in the super middleweight division.
Man, and really I'd like to see him maybe fight somebody like move up a little bit, fight somebody like Caleb Plant or something like that. I mean, me, anyone that knows me knows I'm a huge Caleb Plant fan. Shout out Caleb Plant if you ever see this. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that'd be great to see him move up in talent. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
or maybe even get I don't know, like, or even if Ryder loses to Canelo or something like that, maybe
Right.
see them go at that, or just,
Yeah.
I guess, dig into that a little more. But I mean, I think that Morrell, I think it's time for him to take that next step. Maybe even if it's just somebody in the top 15 or something. I'm not sure who the Yamaguchi. Well, the Yamaguchi guy he fought. I mean, he was 24-1.
Dang.
Like,
Yeah.
not
So
nothing to slouch on. You know what I mean? So I don't
yeah.
know.
He
Like,
might be on that fast track. It might not quite be the Loma fast track, but yeah, I think
yeah,
Morel's on a fast track because that was like his 9th or 10th fight or something crazy. I think 10th fight,
yeah,
and man, he looks tough. So yeah, I think that he'll
yeah.
be fighting a big name pretty soon. I'm sure.
He's 26. I think he's like 26 or
Sheesh.
25 maybe, or something
That's
like that.
good, man. That's good. Speaking of 168, also on the undercard, we had Gabe Rosado,
Yeah,
the rematch with Beck the Bully. It was like
yeah,
the knockout of the year last year, I think it was. But yeah, a little different this time. Went the distance. He lost the decision, I believe, but it's good to see Gabe out there. I think I saw he was like roughly my age. I saw
yeah,
like an interview leading up to the fight. And yeah, man, it's hard to not like Gabe, at least from my
yeah,
perspective, man. He's one of those guys. He seems not afraid to fight anybody. I mean, he fought Triple G in his prime. I mean, he's been in there with some killers, and I think he was a late start guy too, right? Or at
I
least
think
had
he was.
a limited amateur background.
Yeah,
So I like me some Gabe. Got a lot of respect for the guy. So we'll see what's next for him. I mean, he's getting older, like I said. And then we'll see what's next for Beck the Bully.
yeah,
Uh, Prelims. You've been watching a kid named Vito. Is that right?
yeah. Maneki, man, he's cool. Yeah, he's I've been kind of following him since he's only like 19, so
Oh,
he's real young. I think he had one of his first professional fights like when he was like graduating high school or something like that, like the same, like right around when he graduated high school. So
that's
yeah,
good.
he's coming up. He's a little PBC prospect. At 147. No, I think I lied. 150, 154.
I think it was 154.
It's 154. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, prospect coming up. Good kid. I think he has that one loss to, let me see, actually. I'll look that up.
So he's an American kid. You say about
Yeah.
19.
15. Yeah, 15-1.
Oh wow. So he's gotten
Yeah.
busy quick.
Yeah, he's busy. He's been on almost, I feel like almost every big PBC card you can think of. He was on Tank's last one with Rolly, I'm pretty sure. He was definitely on the Plant Benavidez card.
Okay.
And then, yeah, well, no, actually, I lied. I don't think he was on the Plant Benavidez card, because that would have been a quick turnaround, huh? But it wouldn't surprise me though if
Right.
he. Let me see here. But yeah, young, tough kid, man. Real young. He's about to be 21. I think they said on the broadcast, like in 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So 154, another PBC, 154, right? Has he been
yeah,
fighting exclusively PBC? Probably. I don't know.
yeah. I believe so. I think he came up on Showbox, if I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
got you.
One of the Showbox kids.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him, man.
Yeah,
Yep. Looking forward, we got some big fights on the horizon. We got Canelo's typical Cinco de Mayo weekend. It's a mandatory. He's not going after a belt like he has. Seems like that was quite a tear he went through. Like what? Shoot, like 2018 through what 2022.
bro. He was collecting belts like Thanos out here,
Yeah,
man. Like
that's crazy.
the 50 stones. He was out here just the gauntlet, baby. So we were talking about Ryder, right?
Yeah, so yeah, Canelo versus Ryder, mandatory. But what's cool about it is they're bringing it back to Mexico. So it's in Canelo's hometown, Guadalajara.
Yeah,
Should be a pretty cool venue, I believe. We'll talk more about that as it gets closer, but yeah,
sure,
it's a
sure.
it's a break in the champions that we're getting. Canelo was doing the undisputed thing and all that, so we're falling back on a mandatory, so maybe a little less exciting, maybe a
Yeah,
little bit less of a risk. But I like John Ryder. You know what I mean? Do I think he's gonna beat Canelo? I highly doubt that, but I like John Ryder, man. He gave Callum Smith fits, arguably won the fight. Gave Danny Jacobs fits. I kind of like his style. Just kind of those short, stocky, rugged dudes. I kind of relate to that a little bit, but
for sure.
nah, but But no, man, I think that'll be a good one. I'm curious to see the undercard. Canelo's undercards are usually pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think that he's back with Matchroom and Eddie promoting this one. So
The good old days.
yeah. But we'll cover that more as that approaches. That'll be here real soon though. That's May 6th.
What's going on, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in to the podcast so far. Just want to take a minute to shout out our sponsor, Young Winston. They sent us these awesome hoodies. They sent us a little bit of the gear. Got this wallet. I think it's great. I love it. I actually switched my own wallet and use this. Really easy to use, sleek, nice, easy in and out of your pocket. Pull your cards out easy. I love it. They also have things like gold wrist chains. They have a backpack that I also use. It's got a very, very nice, convenient USB port so you can charge your laptop and stuff. It's great. Sleek, durable leather. Love it. Yeah, they gave us the discount code LTR5 for 5% off the entire site, whatever you want. Let's get back into the podcast, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Undisputed, we got Haney. Loma climbed his way back up. He's wanting his belts back. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I'm really hyped on it, man, because you got two, I mean, to say the least, interesting styles that are going to kind of, I mean, you got Haney, obviously one of the best defensive fighters I believe in the game right now, you know, and then you got Loma, who I mean an angle wizard, right? I mean, this dude can catch you at every angle, you know what I mean? So, and of course you got the traditional like southpaw versus orthodox, you know, matchup, you know, kind of curious to see how that goes too with Haney being, you know, Philly shell and all that too, you know what I mean? I always like to kind of even dig into that deep, like how is Loma going to be able to kind of break that code, you know what I mean, with his angle and the way he works and all that stuff. So yeah, excited about that, man. May 20th, that's gonna be big. So
yeah, man.
For all the gold, baby.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And I think the timing's really, so many interesting things about this. The timing's really interesting. Haney has gone through some things. I mean, just traveling to Australia back to back, right? So he traveled over there to get the belts, but then with the rematch, he went back there. I believe the second fight was back there, right? Which is pretty wild. Right. So he's got that under his belt. He's been, you know, he's got Linares under his belt. So he's got some experience, man. He's in his prime. And then he's catching Loma right now, which some could say, hey man, he's getting a little older. You know what I mean? He looked a little human in his last fight. Maybe he's a little small for 135. You know, you have all these little variables in there, which make it really interesting. You know, you got the American style, longer reach. So we'll see, man. I mean, Loma typically finds a way. He's got a lot of heart, interesting style. But man, prime Devin Haney right now, and it's a big, tall order, man.
I think really that last fight more than anything too was just the fact that he hadn't been in the ring for a minute. You know, everyone's like, "Oh man, Loma seems, you know, like he's, you know, back down to earth," and it's like, I mean, he came off that surgery after
Theo, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then how do you not know what's going on in Ukraine right now? He's been dealing with that, and he's been, I believe, supporting in any way he can over there, like militarily and all that stuff. So, you know, when you're out of the ring that long and you're dealing with like real world problems, like, you know, boxing obviously is amazing. We love boxing, but like real life is real life, you know. So he's dealing with all that, and I think that you know, that obviously probably has a lot to do with, you know, where he stands right now too. So I don't know. I think that he gets a full nice training camp in for Haney. I think that you know, I really think he has a chance for sure. Like I don't know what the exact betting odds are and stuff, you know, who's really coming in as a side. I assume probably Haney with him being
with the belts.
You know, I think this could be very similar to like what we just saw with Ryan and Tank, where people are going to be kind of divided down the middle, you know, and either guy could take it with whatever their, you know, skill asset that they bring to the table that night, you know?
Yeah. People were calling Tank versus Ryan a 50-50 fight. And, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, but I would say that despite the, you know, physical advantages and all that, I would say this was probably a closer to a 50-50 fight than a Tank and Ryan was. But
yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We got a little bit of time on that one. So we'll definitely be digging into that as it gets closer. Yeah, man, wrapping up. You just got back from a pretty long road trip, I hear.
Yeah. So I had 5 guys, 1 girl.
Okay.
Took like a 4-hour road trip for a tournament. Yeah. So everyone did great, man. I was really happy. Yeah, a couple took L's, a few took W's. So I mean, hey, you can't beat that, you know what I mean?
Happens,
So
man.
everyone had fun more than anything. This is amateur bout and all that stuff. So a lot of people, actually everyone that I took, this was their first fight. So
Awesome.
even the people that took the L's, man, it's like it's really just learning. You know what I mean?
Experience, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Real
So,
quick on that, I read something. I was part of this coaches thread, and someone made a good point. There was an argument about giving out trophies at local club events, but anyways, the thing that stuck out to me was the coach said, "Hey, man, this is the amateurs. It's all about experience. You know what I mean? So win, lose, or draw. I mean, not draw, obviously, but win or lose, it's all about experience, right? This isn't some 12-round professional fight. These kids are just getting experience. So, you know, I use the term kids, but whether you're, 12 or you're, 40, just getting that experience is huge. And yeah, man, it's super cool. I'm glad they had a good time.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think it really just matters, especially in the amateur, man. It just matters that you get in there and you get that experience, whether you want to go pro or you want to maybe try out for your local Golden Gloves, like whatever, you know what I mean? So I think it's really good to get that experience in there and just learn, because it's so easy to see it from the outside, but once you get in the ring, right, and pass,
Man.
you know what I mean? Like it's all it's all fun and good when you're in there sparring, but the next thing you know, in competition with somebody who's like trying to take you out, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big step, and I think everyone that went down, they had a fantastic time, and they really they shined. They really did. Even shined through the taking the loss for sure.
Hey man, it's all about experience. I'm glad you guys had a good time and you made it home safely. But yeah, man, thank you so much, dude. And yeah, so I think this is a pretty fun time, and I look forward to the next one, bud.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Appreciate you.
Take care, buddy.
All right, peace.